It was many months after the accident before Ellen tried to go back to school again, but it seemed almost hopeless for her to learn or to remember what she had studied. The accident had left her so nervous, and her eyesight was so badly damaged that the print seemed blurred when she tried to read. Her hand shook so much when she tried to write that she could only write a little at a time and then rest. She could not breathe through her nose since she had been hurt, and she had a very bad cough. Day after day, as Ellen tried to study, great drops of perspiration would come out on her forehead, and she would grow faint and dizzy. This was very discouraging to a girl who had been so eager to learn and who had made such good grades only a few months before. The girl who had thrown the stone was very sorry for what she had done. When the teacher asked her to help Ellen in every way she could with her reading and writing, she was most glad to do it. Ellen never talked to her about the accident, but the girl seemed very sad, and often there were tears in her eyes when she saw Ellen struggling to read or write. She was very sorry for the terrible injury she had caused Ellen as a result of her anger. The older girl was always kind and patient with Ellen. Many people who saw Ellen's condition asked her mother, "Why don't you report this girl to the police for ruining Ellen's life?" But Ellen's mother was a sincere Christian, so she would reply kindly, "No, if it would bring back Ellen's health, there might be something gained, but it cannot do that. It would only cause more trouble and make enemies." At school, Ellen thought she would at least be able to join in the play period with her classmates, but this also was a big disappointment to her. She learned the unhappy lesson that the way we look often makes a difference in the way our friends treat us. Some had been happy to have Ellen as their playmate when she was a healthy, pretty girl, but now many of them had little sympathy for her when she was weak and sick and her health and beauty were gone. Some of them would whisper when Ellen would come near them. Some of the boys laughed and pointed at her. This kind of treatment hurt Ellen very much. It made her sad when different ones would turn away from her on the playground and shun her. Each one of us can also learn a good lesson from this hard experience that came to Ellen. Those boys and girls who teased Ellen and would not play with her were surely not practicing the golden rule found in Matthew 7:12, which says, "Whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them." That means that we should treat people the way we want to be treated, and also the way Jesus would treat them. Is it natural for us to always want to practice the golden rule? No. We are naturally selfish and often unkind. But if Jesus is in our hearts and we see someone who is crippled or spastic or ragged, then we will be kind and thoughtful to him and try and bring a little happiness into his life. Many times children laugh at other children, or even adults who are spastic. Now, a spastic is someone who cannot control his nerves and muscles, so he jerks his head and body, or throws his arms around. These poor people cannot help this. How very rude and unkind to laugh at them or point at them. We can be thankful that we are not like that, but we must think how we would feel if we were, and then treat them the way we would want to be treated. Poor Ellen, after months of struggling and trying to study and continue her education, the teacher finally advised her to quit school until her health was better and she was stronger. It was very hard for Ellen to have to leave school, for she loved her schoolwork. She thought her life was ruined, and that now she would never be able to become a teacher as she had hoped. But even at that time, God was preparing Ellen for a great work, although she did not realize it then. Ellen did just what the Bible tells us to do. She asked God to help her get wisdom, and He did. Let's read that verse in James 1:5. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and it shall be given him. Later, when Ellen became older and stronger, she learned much by reading and studying at home. The Bible was always Ellen's best-loved book, and through its study, she learned to be wise, loving, and true. Ellen also followed the advice Paul gave to Timothy in 2 Timothy 2:15. Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed. We are told that the child Jesus did not receive instruction in the synagogue schools. His mother was his first human teacher. The Bible tells us that when Jesus was 12 years old, he went to Jerusalem with his family. They found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the doctors, both hearing them and asking them questions. And all that heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. And so it was with Ellen. Someday when she became older, she would become a teacher. Not just a teacher of children, but of thousands of people all over the world, even though she had only finished the 3rd grade in school. Maybe some of those same playmates who had laughed at Ellen and had turned away from her on the playground would someday also learn good lessons from her writing and the messages from God.